inches later.
Well, good morning. Yes, indeed, what you just saw were moving cartons, and yes, I am moving. Sad story, I am leaving London. There it is, the news is out. But let me tell you a bit more about where I'm headed. If you could read the descriptions on the boxes, it actually said Basel, Switzerland, and that's going to be my new home. I know, dramatic change, but I can't wait to tell you all about it. So why don't I just get out of this empty room? We make our way to Basel in Switzerland, and I can tell you a little bit more about why I'm moving to Switzerland, why I'm leaving London, which I'm actually really sad about, and some of the other reasons behind this. Let's go.
To Heathrow Terminals 1, 2, 3 and 5.
So I've just arrived at Heathrow Airport, and I can tell you guys a little bit more about what this is all about, why I'm leaving London. Now, this is never supposed to be a video that's supposed to be sad or negative, where I rant about London and tell you why it's such a terrible place and why I absolutely had to leave, because that couldn't be further from the truth. I'd say London is one of the most amazing places in the world to live, and if you ever get the opportunity, you should definitely take that opportunity and make the most of it, and I kind of feel that's exactly what I did. So I came here to London 3 years ago as a young professional. I just qualified with a chartered accountant degree. Well, it's actually a qualification, not a degree. And once I had that degree, I took up a job up here in London in finance, and that's just an incredible place to grow your career. The exposure you get, as well as the pay, is also pretty good in London as well. So just a really good package, and then the exposure you get at work is just incredible. I worked on some amazing projects that really furthered my career. I got promoted to manager even, and it's just an amazing stepping stone to build a career when you're young, in your 20s. Absolutely, London is the place to be. And then coupled with that, the city in itself is just an incredibly exciting place. I don't think you'll be ever bored in the city, not a single day. Always too much going on, so much to see, so much to do. And whatever you're into, London's got you covered, and you'll have an amazing time here, and whatever your hobbies will be. I developed a hobby for photography, and that's exactly how you guys got to know me, probably, for my photos here in London. And it's also really sad to leave that behind, because again, with photography, London is an amazing place to be. But yeah, let's talk about some of the negatives as well, on why I decided to leave London in the end. Well, when it comes to negatives, London has plenty, just like any other city all over the world, and some of the main ones really are the extremely high cost of living. You should definitely factor this in mind when considering whether you should move to London, because it's the price you're ultimately going to have to pay in terms of creature comforts. Most people in London end up living in flat shares well into their mid-30s, sometimes 40s, and it's very difficult to find your own place, and if you do, it's going to be a very tiny shoebox-sized apartment, or you'll be living really far out of town, which means you'll be commuting a lot. So that's why you'll also find, amongst other reasons, why London never scores very highly in those quality of life rankings where they rank the best cities to live in. So the thing you ultimately got to weigh up is whether the excitingness of London, with all it has to offer and all the great activities going on, is worth it in the end. If you're willing to live in a very small place and spend a lot of money on rent out of your salary, I think percentage-wise, the proportion of your salary going towards rent in London is going to be extremely high, and you might not be better off than in other cities in terms of the quality of life and what you can afford, the restaurants you'll be able to go to, and some of the activities you can do. So that's definitely something to bear in mind when factoring into London. As exciting as it is, it's also very expensive and very unaffordable as well for most people living there. Unless you're one of the super rich, then it's the ultimate playground to play around in. You'll see people in Ferraris, Lamborghinis, living in absolute huge mansions in the middle of the city of London, owning huge properties, and that's because they can. But for most people, they don't have that lifestyle, and you got to deal with the realities that entail living in London. I often say London is a beautiful place to visit, but to live there is an entirely different cup of tea. Well, anyway, that's all about London, I have to say. I tried to make it broad and generalized so that it applied to you, and I wouldn't discourage you from moving to London at all. Absolutely amazing place to spend your mid-30s, mid-20s, early 30s potentially. I'm about to turn 30 this year, and I thought to myself, you know what, I want a bit more normality, a bit more normal life, a little bit better quality of life balance with what I earn, what I can afford, and that's one of the main reasons I'm moving to Switzerland, which on the other hand has amazing quality of life. And why don't I jump on this flight, which is busy boarding by the way, so I should probably hurry up, jump on this flight. Let's head over to Switzerland, and then we can talk a little bit more about why I wanted to move to Switzerland. Let's go, I'm excited.
our gorgeous cabin crew.
And here we are, just made it to Basel in Switzerland. Let me show you guys my new apartment. Quick tour. Well, here's the bed, kitchen area over here, passage over here, toilet's just there, which I'm not going to bore you with, that's boring. It's never part of a good house tour. And that already concludes the apartment tour. How good. But I'm really happy here, despite it being small. It's finally awesome to just finally own my own apartment, which I could never afford in London, especially in the city centre where I am right now. So I'm super stoked about that. And that's exactly the point I wanted to pick up on. Just before I left London, I talked about quality of life, and if you look at quality of life rankings all over the world, Switzerland, Australia and Canada always score really highly at the top of those rankings, and the reason is pretty obvious. Just the amount of security and comfort and all the amenities you have in Switzerland are just incredible. Again, a very expensive country to live in, but the salaries do match that, and if you equate the two, you're definitely going to be better off than in London, where I always felt like, even though I was earning above average well on a global scale, the costs were just astronomical, and you never really got to enjoy the luxury of the point in your career at which you were at. If I compare to myself to some of my peers who studied the same, had similar jobs in other cities all over the world, not good at all. And the other few reasons I wanted to talk about why I wanted to move to Switzerland, of course, are very personal reasons, and you definitely got to factor those into a big move as well. So I'm originally from Germany and I speak German, and I kind of felt like I was losing touch with the language, and I never ever got to incorporate that properly into my career. So I thought Switzerland, a German-speaking country, would just be an amazing place to incorporate that into my career and use that skill and resource that I have that previously in my career I've always left untapped. And then the other reason I wanted to move to Switzerland is because I love hiking, I love skiing, and I love just being in the mountains and stuff like that. So on weekends and short trips away, there really is no more beautiful place to live than in Switzerland. So it's definitely an exciting new chapter that also is going to bring a lot of challenges for me, and I can't wait to embrace this as well. Getting reacquainted with the corporate culture, a new job, a new team, and new colleagues around me. I'm still with the same company, in the exact same job position at least. So I guess the scope of my work is very similar, hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, just gotta embrace that as well. So, long story short, London is an extremely exciting place to be, looks incredible on your CV, and if you ever get the chance in your life, definitely head over there, give it a try for a few years and make the best of it. And I kind of feel like I did that, and I'd encourage you to do exactly the same. That's to leave us on a positive note. But also, I'm excited for my new chapter ahead, and I can't wait to take you there with me. Another thing worth pointing out is that, of course, you guys know me as a London-based photographer, and yeah, that is also changing. I want to embrace the natural landscapes more, as well as go on city trips and try that out for a bit, because yeah, sometimes it's good to change things up, never to stay stagnant, and that definitely applies to photography as well. Where I feel like London, I've really made the most of it. I've kind of gotten all the great shots, tried all the different angles, been to all the skyscrapers, and I've kind of nailed them. Of course, there's always room to grow, but I think by mixing it up and trying something new, challenging, there's also a lot more room to grow there as well. So I hope you'll stick with me, stay tuned to this channel, and start embracing Swiss mountain landscapes with me, as well as various other places all over the world. Okay, well, with that being said, if you aren't already, do hit that subscribe button below and join me on my new chapter in my life. And do drop a thumbs up button below, because that does help this channel grow and gives me the, makes this video just get seen by a lot more people. Now before I go, I'm going to leave you with some B-roll, a little montage of my first impressions of Basel. Let's go check it out.